What's the point of lifting heavy and gaining a ton of muscle if you can't even move? When I first started working out, I worked out like everybody else. Bodybuilding bro split, chest day, back day, arm day, shoulders day. We didn't know any other style of working out other than going hard in the gym, being inspired by pumping iron, Arnold, Sylvester Stallone, Rambo. But have you ever noticed that after some time of only bodybuilding or only strength training, you start to get the bodybuilder walk? I even got into powerlifting like crazy at one point, only working on the big 3 lift. But when I went to play pro basketball, I realized that I couldn't move and I was gassed out doing warm-ups in practice. And that's when I realized something has to change. And that's why I'm gonna show you how you can get aesthetics and athletics. So you wanna build muscle, but don't sacrifice movement. If you get this right, looking good is gonna be a natural outcome. Let's take the spine, for example. It has many different functions and it drives many movements. But the way most people train, you're probably using 2, max 3 out of all functions. Training one way all the time, which is fine, especially if that is your goal, and lifestyle habits like sitting down a lot leads to the spine being compressed, leading to stiffness and inability to move because you pretty much disregard like 8 out of 10 functions of the spine. What this looks like is you go to the gym and then all you do is curls, squats, RDLs, always thinking about a neutral spine. And then you get home and you're sitting, you're watching TV, you're on your computer all day, on your phone all day. Then what ends up happening is you get scared to lift outside of your range, and then you become those people that say squatting knees over toes is bad for your knees. Like, get out of the 1920s, bruh. To train movement, you start off by building your base level strength. You know, your typical compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, benches, being able to squat or deadlift 1.5 to 2 times your body weight. But absolute strength is not the only thing you should be training. Absolute strength is how much weight you can lift. You have to train relative strength too, which is how strong you are compared to your body. And this is where calisthenics comes into play. You gotta master being able to move your body in space. And when you get that down, you have to apply your strength at different ranges. You gotta be comfortable working outside your range. Train in different planes because you're only strong where you train, and most injuries happen outside of the range you're strong in. So if you hurt yourself picking something off the floor, your spinal flexion sucks. This right here should be a natural resting spot for most people. But in the West, we can't do things like this, resting down here. But if you go into the East, your grandma is moving like this. Even in sports like basketball, your joints are being moved in extreme locations, so you have to be strong at all ranges. If you want to improve joint health, first thing that you have to do is when you're lifting, stop ego lifting and using momentum. Use tempo, train in your full range. Get strong at length. If you don't have access to your full range yet, get strong in the range that you get access to, and as you work on it, you will improve. Add isometric holds into your training where you're holding a position for 30 to 45 seconds because tendons love this. I've hurt every single part of my body because when I was younger, I was like, the heck is stretching? What is mobility? Why do I need to care about my joints? They're gonna be fine. And I learned my lesson. Now that I'm taking my joint health and mobility training more serious, I'm pain-free. I can move in any way that I want. And I realized that looking good, being lean, but also being able to move and move pain-free should be a normal thing. Everybody should be able to do this. So take 5 to 10 minutes out of your day and work on mobilizing your joints. And don't be like, oh, I have no time. If you are sitting in front of a TV or sitting at a computer or on a laptop for hours, you got time. do it at the same time. Everybody needs a baseline level of athleticism. You cannot afford to be unathletic. What happens if you gotta catch your bus, race your kid, pick something heavy up off the floor? You can't be so non-athletic that doing these basic things become life-threatening situations. This is where you train to transfer strength into straight up power. You have to be elastic. This is just the ability of your body to produce and absorb force quickly. And you can tell who has prioritized more muscle over being elastic and being more elastic over having a ton of muscle. And one of my favorite ways to train elasticity is jump rope. It's one of the simplest exercises you can do. You can train it anywhere. It trains your elasticity. You'll increase your foot strength, your bone density, and your coordination. It can be done anywhere, and you can even experiment with different types of jump rope skills. You can also add more power into your training by using kettlebells. The amount of exercises you can do on this thing is absolutely amazing. You have your swings, you got your snatches. The kettlebell is one of the most dynamic equipments because it challenges your body in so many different ways. You learn how to brace your core, you learn how to transfer weight and use momentum in so many different ways. You can do power-based exercises at the start of your workout when you're most fresh. Because for power-based and speed-based exercises, you have to do it with maximum intent, meaning moving as quickly as possible, lifting as fast as possible. The most basic form of cardio that most people do is walking, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's fantastic, especially if you want low impact cardio. You'll be able to do it pretty much any time. And it's the easiest way to get more steps in, to burn more calories on a daily and weekly basis. But if we are being honest, walking is literally the bare minimum. It is so basic. Everybody should be walking. It's to the point where it shouldn't even count as exercise. Don't get me wrong, walking is great, but what happens if you have to run or sprint for 10 seconds? If you have to run up a flight of stairs, you're gonna get gassed out because you have never trained in that capacity. So if you wanna be more functional and more athletic, bump up the intensity and actually challenge your heart. There's so many different forms of cardio. You have HIIT training, you have the 4x4 where you run 4 minutes at your fastest speed and then you walk or rest for 4 minutes and you just do rounds of that. You can even do road work on decreasing your 1 mile time. These are all examples of how you can increase your heart health and become a cardio beast. Oh, I almost forgot, play a sport, because in sports, your cardiovascular health will be challenged and it will improve a whole lot. Your body will also be put in unnatural positions that you just can't replicate in the gym. You will be challenged in so many different ways, and it's going to require you to switch up, or at least think about switching up your training style just a little bit. How do you actually put this in a workout routine? It's actually pretty simple. Let's say you have 1 hour to work out. The first 5 to 10 minutes, you're gonna be working on your mobility, doing dynamic mobility drills. The next 10 to 20 minutes, this is where you can do your speed and power exercises. You can skip, you can do the kettlebell workouts, you can do things like snatches, push presses, sled pushes, plyometrics. And then the last 30 to 40 minutes of your workout, this is where you do all your strength lifts. So all the slow tempo, your compounds, your isolations, all your core work, that's where you do it at the end of your workout. And the most important thing is to keep it simple. You don't need like 10 to 15 exercises. You can get all this done just by doing 6 exercises in a workout. All you gotta do is find a split that works best for you. And if you do this consistently and long enough, you're going to see not only will you gain muscle, you're gonna look good in your clothes. You'll take your shirt off and you'll look absolutely fantastic, but your movement capacity is gonna be chef's kiss.